Hello all, welcome to Indian Techies. Today we are going to discuss a program on multiplication of two matrices. In previous class we have discussed about addition of two matrices. Now we are going to discuss about multiplication of two matrices. Now if you want to perform multiplication of two matrices, then what is the basic condition? Let us see the basic condition here. Suppose here I am taking a matrix of size m cross n. First matrix, that is matrix A. Second matrix I am taking as B and its size is P cross Q. That is number of rows is m, number of columns is n. Number of rows is P, number of columns is Q. Suppose if you want to perform matrix multiplication, the number of columns in matrix A should be equal to number of columns in matrix B. That is, suppose for example, you have taken a matrix of size 3 rows and 4 columns. Here 4 rows and suppose 6 columns. Right? You can take. It's not at all a problem. But what you have to check is this number of columns in first matrix, number of rows in second matrix. If these two are same, then only you can perform multiplication of two matrices. Then after multiplying, the resultant matrix size will be 3 cross 6. So that is number of rows of first matrix and number of columns of the second matrix. So you have to check this condition definitely before performing or before taking input and to perform the multiplication. This condition is mandatory. Now you understood the basic condition to perform multiplication of matrix. Now let us see how to perform a multiplication of matrix. That is, suppose what is the size here? 3 cross 4. That is 3 rows and 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now here what is the size here? The size is equal to 4 rows and 6 columns. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Suppose this is a matrix. Now if I want to perform, how generally a matrix multiplication will be done? The first value in the matrix and the first value in the B matrix. Then how we are going to perform? Take the second value of the first row. You have to multiply with second value of the second row. I mean for this column second value. So next third value of the first row, third value of the first column, fourth value of the first row, fourth value of the first column. If you all multiply these all things and add, you will get one single result in the resultant matrix. What is the resultant matrix? 3 cross 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First value into this first value plus second value into this second value plus third value into this third value, fourth value into this fourth value. If you add, you will get one single value in the resultant matrix. Then once this is completed, this row will be same, but now you have to multiply with this row. Again this row will be same, again you have to multiply with this row. This row will be same, again you have to multiply with this row. This row will be same, again you have to multiply with this row and this row. This is how you have to perform multiply. If you do that, you will be getting one single row values in the resultant matrix. Now generally, by using our for loop ij, whatever we have written previously, for inside for, generally how this will be accessed? Row wise it will be done. But here what you have to do? A matrix you have to follow row wise, but B matrix before going to the next row, first of all you have to complete this column multiplication, then you have to go to the next row. Okay? Keep this thing in your mind so that you can apply the logic. Right? Now we will see a program how to perform multiplication of two matrices. Let's see the program. As usual, the first one is hash include stdio.h, right? Next, void main. Now opening the main. Now I am declaring arrays, that is A of size 10 rows 10 columns, B also size 10 rows 10 columns, C also size 10 rows 10 columns. Next, for this, out of this 10 rows and 10 columns, always there is no need of giving input of 100 elements. So for out of this 10 rows and 10 columns, how many you want to take input? For that I am declaring m comma n. M is for number of rows in A, n is for number of columns in A. Next, P comma Q, that is for B matrix, rows and columns. For the purpose of taking input and calculation, I need ij. You can take any variables. I am taking ij for loop repetitions. Now your declaration is completed. Suppose if you want any other variables, we can add it later. That's not a problem. First, take out of this how many rows, how many columns you want as an input. That is, first of all, write a printf statement, printf /n, that is going to the next line. To get clarity, enter number of rows and columns of matrix 1. Next, take input, that is scanf percentile d ampersand m ampersand n, that is number of rows and columns for matrix A, m and n. In the same way, take input for second matrix also, that is printf /n in the next line, that is enter number of rows and columns of matrix 2, right? Now that is scanf percentile d ampersand p comma ampersand q. Now you have taken how many number of rows and columns that you need for both the matrices. Before performing this actual process of multiplication, first of all, what is the basic condition I have to check? That is, number of columns of first matrix should be equal to number of rows of second matrix. So number of columns are first matrix, what is that? N. In m and n is number of columns of first matrix. It should be equal to number of rows of second matrix. So in second matrix, PQ, P is the number of rows. So if these both are equal, then only I can perform any next procedure for multiplication. So if this condition is true, you will go inside. Then take input for first matrix, that is printf enter matrix 1 values. You are going to enter. So how do you enter for a two-dimensional array? For inside for, that is nested for loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than number of rows is m. First matrix now. Next, for j is equal to 0, j less than n. Second matrix, I mean first matrix, columns n, j plus plus. Inside this, you will be writing scanf percentile d ampersand a of I j. So close this for. Now your input for matrix 1 has been done. Next, what you have to do? You have to take input for matrix 2. That is printf within the next line /n, that is enter matrix 2 values. Now take input, that is for I is equal to 0. Now number of rows, I less than second matrix is P, I plus plus. Next, for j is equal to 0, j less than number of columns for second matrix we have taken is Q, j plus plus. Inside this, you have to take input, that is scanf percentile d This is matrix B. So ampersand B of I, J. So close this for and close this for. Now your input for matrix A and matrix B has been completed. Now we are performing this total procedure whenever this condition is being matched. Right? So input is completed. Now we have to see how the multiplication will be done. So before performing the multiplication, remember that whatever the values that are available in the resultant matrix, that is, we have declared C matrix to store the result. Before performing or before storing a value on that, we have to make all the values as 0, because defaultly the C matrix consists of garbage values. If you are adding anything, multiple addings has to be done. So then if you don't have 0, you may get some wrong value. So in the resultant matrix you have to make each and every value as 0. So anything plus 0 is equal to anything. So there will not be any change. For example, see here. For this is the multiplication I equal to 0, I less than m. Because in this matrix, this is matrix A, this is matrix B. Suppose you are having like this elements. Now first this should be multiplied with this. So what is this? M cross N, P cross Q. So what is this? This is rows, like this. These are rows. So rows are represented with M. So I less than N, I plus plus. Next, with what you have to multiply? You have to multiply with this column. So what is the column? That is Q. That is for j equal to 0, j less than q, j plus plus. So to reach to one particular variable, you need I and j. After reaching this variable, instead of going to this variable, what you have to do? You have to go to this variable. Means you have to complete this repetition, then you have to go to this variable. Then this repetition, then you have to go to this variable. So to reach one variable, you need I and j for an array, two-dimensional array. But after reaching, you have to repeat column, not the row. For that purpose, inside for loop, we are going to perform another for loop. Before that, what I said, I have to make all these values as 0 now. That is, I am making C of ij is equal to 0. For every repetition, that value becomes 0. Now, for I am taking another variable k is equal to 0. In the starting declaration, we have declared only ij. As per my requirement, there I have to change. I have to add one more variable declaration in the starting k. K less than, now for you, for seeing it is column, but this value, this value, this value. So these are the starting values of the rows. So I have to take p. K less than p. A plus plus. So here what I will do is C of ij, this is the basic logic one, is equal to C of ij plus A of ik into B of kj. Close this for loop, or you can print here only, that is printf percentile d C of ij. Close this for loop. If you want to get in the form of a row by row, after closing this for loop, you will be writing printf /n. After printing one row, it will go to the next line. Now this is how generally we write. This is the major logic. So C of ij, initially I am making it as 0. So 0 plus A of ik into B of kj. So A of ik means it will be multiplying with this. B of kj means it will be multiplying with this. Again that will be added to A of ik, B of kj. Again that will be added to A of ik, B of kj. Once this is completed, this row will be multiplied with this row. This row will be multiplied with this column. So you can take any of these ij values, take manually and check all the repetition one by one. Then you only will be getting the clarity. Right? So this is how you perform the basic multiplication. So till that multiplication has been done. So till which situation we have done multiplied? We have multiplied because at the starting we have written a if condition, that is if number of rows, number of columns of first matrix is equal to number of rows of second matrix. If that condition is true only, we have done this total procedure till now shown. So that if we have to close now. Whatever the if we have opened there, then we have to close here. Next, suppose if that condition is false, that is n is equal to p condition is false. What is the meaning of that? You cannot perform multiplication. So you are going to come to else, and in that you are writing printf within the next line, that is multiplication cannot be done. You will get an error message like this because that condition is false. Close else and close your main program. This is how you have to perform multiplication of two matrices. Hope you understood the program of multiplication of two matrices in C programming language. Thank you for watching Indian Techies C programming language videos. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you.